No one let the single dad veteran near the casket, until a 4-star general said, "He saved my life." The church was silent except for the rain tapping gently against the stained glass windows. Rows of uniforms, navy blue, olive green, dress whites, lined the pews like a living wall of grief and honor. The funeral was for Major Ethan Cole, a decorated hero, and every seat was filled with faces that carried the same weight of loss. But just outside the doors, soaked in rain and humility, stood a man in a worn jacket holding a folded flag. His name was David Ross, a single dad, a janitor, and a veteran. He stood motionless, his weathered hands trembling as he watched through the open doorway. Inside, officers and soldiers whispered to one another, their eyes narrowing when they saw him step forward. "Excuse me," David said softly, voice cracking. "I'd like to pay my respects." One of the ushers blocked him instantly. "Sir, this ceremony is private. Family and high-ranking guests only." David's throat tightened. "I knew Major Cole. We served together." The usher frowned. "You were in the same unit." David nodded, but the man's skeptical look said it all. The tattered jacket, the muddy shoes, the cheap watch, he didn't look like a soldier. He looked like someone who mopped floors and caught buses, not someone who once risked his life for his brothers in arms. David lowered his eyes and turned away, clutching the flag tighter. From behind, he heard someone whisper, probably just trying to get attention. He almost left right then. He almost walked away and carried his memories back to the small apartment where his daughter waited. But something stopped him. It was the sound of the organ starting, the hymn echoing through the hall, and a picture of Ethan Cole smiling in his dress blues, framed by roses and medals. That picture tore open something deep inside David's chest. He couldn't walk away. Not again. He took a deep breath and stepped forward once more. "Please," he said. "I just need 1 minute. I owe it to him." But before the usher could respond, a commanding voice thundered from the front of the church. "Let him through." Every head turned. The man standing near the casket was General Michael Harrington, a 4-star general whose presence alone made the air heavy. The general's eyes locked on David, and for a moment, time froze. David looked startled, unsure if he'd just made things worse. But the general began to walk toward him, slow, deliberate steps echoing on the marble floor. The crowd parted like the sea, whispers rippling through every row. The general stopped in front of him. Rainwater dripped from David's jacket onto the floor. The general looked at him for a long, silent moment before saying softly, "He's the reason I'm alive today." Gasps filled the room. The usher stepped back instantly, eyes wide. David stood frozen, unsure of what to say. General Harrington turned to the crowd, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. "You see this man here? You think he doesn't belong because he doesn't wear the uniform anymore. Because his hands are calloused, his clothes are worn. This man saved my life when our convoy was ambushed in Kandahar. While the rest of us took cover, he ran straight into the fire to drag me out. He carried me 2 miles to safety. I owe every breath I take to him." The silence that followed was deafening. David's eyes filled with tears. Memories flashed before him, the chaos, the dust, the sound of gunfire, Ethan Cole's voice shouting, "We've got your back, brother." The general's voice broke slightly as he continued, "Major Cole wasn't just a soldier. He was family. And this man, David Ross, was his brother." Every barrier, every wall of doubt, crumbled in that moment. Officers who had once turned away now stepped aside, their eyes softening. David walked slowly toward the casket. His steps echoed like heartbeats in the vast hall. He placed the folded flag gently on top of the coffin. His lips trembled as he whispered, "Rest easy, Ethan. I kept my promise." And then, quietly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a dog tag, scratched, bent, but still gleaming faintly. He laid it beside the flag. The general stood behind him, saluting. The crowd followed, one by one, every hand rising in silent honor. The air felt sacred, filled with the weight of brotherhood, sacrifice, and love that transcends uniforms and rank. Later, as the ceremony ended, the general approached David again. "You still cleaning that high school, Ross?" David gave a faint smile. "Yeah, it's honest work. My daughter's proud of me." The general nodded. "You should be proud too. You've given more to this country than most men ever will." He paused, then added, "How about dinner sometime? My family would love to meet the man who saved their husband and father." David's eyes welled up again. I'd be honored, sir. When he stepped out into the rain again, it didn't feel cold anymore. The sky seemed lighter. He walked down the steps, shoulders back, heart full. Somewhere in the clouds, maybe Ethan Cole was smiling. That night, David returned home to his daughter, Lily. She ran to him, hugging his legs. "Daddy, did you get to say goodbye?" He knelt down, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Yeah, sweetheart. I did." And for the first time in years, he felt peace.